Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lynn Robbins.
Thanks, Tony. Every time you tell that story, I laugh, and just so everybody knows, my wife is on, so she's probably going to heckle me. So we do good comedy stand-up, so maybe she'll join in tonight. But I'm going to embarrass her. Tell everybody that didn't know, tonight is her birthday. So not a day over 25. So happy birthday, sweetheart. Don't stick your tongue out. But I just want to thank everybody. Tony, I really appreciate you inviting me. I know we met at the Hope Presbyterian event, which, as you say, I kind of got up in front of everybody and to be honest with you, didn't know I had to speak. The mayor had asked, was I going? I said, yes, I would represent the council. And lo and behold, they asked me to say a few words. So it was kind of an experience, and I kind of just came up with something very quickly, but a great event. But again, want to thank you. As Tony said, my name is Lynn Robbins. I am a resident of Wheaton. I do happen to be a city council person. But I'll be honest, I really kind of want to talk about, and I asked Tony, kind of what he wanted me to talk about. And he said, whatever you want to do or what you want to say. And I think the piece that I really want to talk about tonight is kind of how my career, which has been very successful over the years. And I did do a career change in the middle of all this, how it's kind of formed me, and that the fact that I've been gay, and I've been openly gay, and as Tony had said, openly gay in community politics certainly is unique, especially in the town that I live in, Wheaton, where I think on every corner, we have some type of denominational church. I think we have the highest per capita of denominational churches here in our town. But how being gay hasn't it hasn't hidden me who I am. I mean, I very much have stood very proud of who I am. I mean, matter of fact, when I met my wife, when we first started dating, we were in Glen Ellen, and I went to hold the door open for her to the car, and she looked at me like, what are you doing? And I held open the door for her in a restaurant. She's like, what are you doing? And it was like I think our second date, and this is unheard of, and I'm not gonna hold your hand, and you're not gonna put your arm around me. I mean, so I was very open, and Maggie being from Wheaton was a little bit different for her, but like I said, it hasn't, my being openly out it's not inhibited who I am. Have I had some hardship in my career? And I've had a varied career, and I've been either a director or vice president through my career for the past probably 12 years or so, 15 years, and worked for some very high profile companies, some very open to the gay lifestyle, and some that maybe not have been so. I mean, I'll be honest, I worked for the YMCA of Metropolitan Chicago. So, and not to say anything negative there, but certainly, some mind changing of things. But in some ways, some people have accepted me for who I am, and others have not necessarily have. And, have I let it discourage me? Sometimes I get a little upset and I wear my emotions on my sleeve, but, at the end of the day, I still kind of believe who I am and what I stand for, and in the decisions I make every day, and I make, millions of dollars of decisions for what I do in the construction field, or, on a city council issue, or any other organization I've been involved with, it's about the facts. It's not necessarily about what I may feel is right or wrong, but it's always about the facts and what's the best for either the community or for the company. It's really kind of what I stand about. It's about integrity and honesty. And, in some places where I've worked, and it's been, a little bit of a hardship, my statement has always been, this is who I am. And you're not necessarily going to break me because, I see things a little bit differently, or I am a little different, but I've never made it about being gay. Like when I, 4 years ago, was knocking on doors for the city council, I never hid that I was married. I never hid that I was married to a woman living here in Wheaton. And in my promo card that I passed out, it said that I was married to my wife, Maggie. We had 5 furry, family members. And, but I never made it that was out and I pushed that agenda. It was never about that part of it for the agenda for me. Someone asked me flat out, and I was asked this question. If someone flat out asked me, was I gay? Of course I am. And I'm very proud. And I'm very proud of my wife. I'm very proud of the community and the family that I've made here. And in any piece, in anything I've done in any of my career. And like I said, I've worked a lot of municipal work in my life. I mean, the first 15 years of my career was in local government. And not necessarily as out then as I am today. But again, I had to kind of come to terms with myself of who I was and what I stood for. And I didn't want to hide anymore. So, I kind of, again, never pushed it, but I kind of took the leap of faith. This is who I was. And, I brought, Maggie's come to events. I mean, she's been to city functions with me. We've been to, other events with my work, with her work. We've introduced each other as we are with wife. She's my wife or my partner. But that's kind of, I guess, where I'm going at it. It's not necessarily about being out and pushing in someone's face, because that's just, again, it's not who I am, and it's never boded well for me. I've always been, I don't want to say silent but deadly, but it's been kind of silent and deadly, with kind of how I act and how I behave and how I kind of am. My dad was a very what's the word I want to say, very career-minded gentleman. And he's introduced me to people he knows and has openly said, my daughter Lynn and her spouse, he's never hidden it as well. So it's about being comfortable in your own skin, and doing what's right for you. I mean, even Maggie, after we met and she kind of realized how open I was, even more so became open with her employment. I mean, a picture of me became on her desk, and we, talked about our family and things that we did. And I mean, people that she works with, I certainly know, and they accept me for, being Maggie's partner, and are open about it. They love her as much as they would love, they love me as much as they love her. But, we've kind of formed, our way of life or our path of life, with our partner, but again, not a pushed agendas in someone's face. So I know, Tony, I asked you if there was any questions or anything. I certainly can take any kind of questions. I have a very mixed bag of a past here, meaning on a professional standpoint. Again, working in the 501c3 local government, kind of a unique twist. Going then to the private sector, working for a national retailer, working for the YMCA, working for some private equity. So I've had a varied career, very successful career, and I would say have been openly out for probably the past 20 plus years. So and very proud of that.
Okay, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Lynn. Actually, I usually don't do Q&A, but does anybody have a question for Lynn?
Actually,
No?
I do.
You do? Oh,
do.
Lauren.
Well, Lynn, because, my question to you is, what is it you do? Because you must have some process. What is it you do to ground yourself, to go out with that mindset that you're ready for anything? Because, for everybody right now, especially people in politics and the police and just regular citizens, it's not an easy, the pandemic, there's so many things that make people where people are responding in ways some of us could never imagine, and everything across that spectrum. So
Sure.
I know to do what you do, we get to stay sequestered and everything, but you still have to do the job that you've agreed to do. How difficult is that? And what do you do to prepare yourself when things are hard for everybody?
Sure. Well, I guess let me back up really quick. So, for the past 20 years, I've been in the construction. Okay. And I'm a woman in construction.
Mm-hmm.
And have, like I said, have held, I'll be honest, high-ranking positions. I worked my way up, kind of excelled compared to my male counterpart. Became a director, became a vice president. so part of it is confidence. To be honest with you, it's really I'm confident in myself. I've had to work really hard. It seems like, especially in the field that I'm in the construction field, that I've had to work maybe sometimes double as hard to get ahead. It's not necessarily, and it's not, always the statement of work smarter, not harder. I think in my shoes, I've had to work harder because I've had to understand it better. I've had to feel it. I'm a visual person, but I've had to do more research, more conversation, and I'm not afraid. I think, Lauren, to kind of go into it, I'm not afraid to ask the question. When I first got into doing construction, that wasn't what my field was. It wasn't what my degree was. My degree was in park and recreation. And here I jumped into a construction field. And I never had done things that I was doing. And I got to a point, I started to call subcontractors to ask questions. Explain to me about, what 5/8 inch drywall is compared to 3/4 inch drywall. And I'm just using an example. Tell me how we're going to bend pipe. Or tell me what, lay-in ceiling is compared to, a drywall ceiling. So I had to learn, I think work double hard to understand. So when I spoke to people, then I had confidence in myself, but I was sure of myself, and then I had done my homework. And I think I've carried that throughout my entire career, even to city council. I was I was an appointed, so I guess it's kind of go back. I was an appointed council person. I am fulfilling a 2-year seat of somebody else that beat me, and the incumbent had beat me 4 years ago. And now I was appointed, and I'll tell you, that process is probably harder than the process I went through to knock on doors. But to kind of go back to the question, I think I've kind of just said to myself, I'm not going to hide in fear. I'm not going to hide with who I really am. And again, I don't push my agenda and put it in someone's face that, hey, I'm gay, snap my fingers. I mean, and, it helps that, I'm 53 years old. And when I, came out years ago, so I was 25-ish maybe, when I finally said enough's enough, it certainly was a different time than it is today, where it's it's a lot more mainstream than it was, let's call it 27, 28 years ago. And I think it's still scary, and there's a lot of people out there that still probably aren't as comfortable in their skin. But I think it's just some of the adversity that I've seen with being in a very male-dominated role. I've worked for some, a very background of different companies, some that were openly accepting, some that weren't openly accepting. But I was never going to kind of put myself back in the closet or put myself in a situation I wasn't who I was. And I certainly was never going to hide my wife, ever. And we have, some folks here that like to open their mouths in our town. And, it's like, if you mess with my wife, you're going to mess with me. And that's not right. So, it's like, the old saying, don't put baby in the corner. Well, I don't put Maggie in the corner ever. And
I'm too big to go in the corner.
There you go. But yeah, Lauren, I think it's just, I've just kind of, I said, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to be, right or wrong. And if it cost me a job someplace, well, then I wasn't meant to be there. Then I wasn't going to, it wasn't the right fit for me. Everything's about the right fit. It's like when I hire people, today for a job, it's about the right fit for them as it is the right fit for me, hiring somebody. And it's the way I kind of walk with life. I want to be someplace where I'm, I deserve to be, or where people want me to be, not because, it's what they think is the right thing. So it kind of has to be full circle, full life thing for me, with who I am. So I'm hoping that kind of answered your question better. Cool.